Hello and welcome everyone to our YouTube channel, the Sky Youth YouTube channel. Our goal here is to bring in content that is great for kids, for youth, for parents, and keeping that content alive. We are bringing our today's session, which is all about decoding intuition. This is really an interesting topic. I'm really excited what's going to come out of it, and I hope we have lots of people join. I know very soon we will have many people. We have about 5 or 6 viewers, but soon many people are going to join. So a quick housekeeping, we have some panelists. I'm going to introduce them. But if you have any questions, people who are joining us through YouTube, please put them in chat and we will take the questions in the end. So having said that, let me take a moment to introduce our panelists. So our first panelist is Bhavani Ramanan, and Bhavani is joining us from the Bay Area today. She is an experienced art of living instructor and teaches both beginners and advanced level breathing techniques and meditation to youth and adults. She is one of the small number of instructors that can teach intuition process to youth. She regularly speaks on meditation as a tool for living, parenting topics, and the benefits of intuition. Through her talk and individual mentorship, she empowers individuals to live their life to their full potential. Currently, she serves as the National Director of Programs and Faculty for the Art of Living Foundation. So this is amazing, and I'm really excited, Bhavani, you are here today to help us decode intuition. So that's exciting. And then we also have with us today is Maitri. Maitri is our Sky Teen Intuition Process graduate. She's a 10th grader and she took her intuition program way back in September. And she found it so useful. She's been practicing every day, and we will talk about what are some of the things that she's observed, and really excited for that. During her free time, she likes to read books, write, play music, and lots of other creative stuff. So that's exciting, Maitri, keeping your both sides of the brain working. So that's amazing. So welcome, Maitri, and thank you so much for doing this for us.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's amazing. It's an amazing opportunity to share what I've experienced with other people.
Great. And to top it off, we have our interviewer today, Sanaya. And Sanaya is a 7th grader. Sanaya was enrolled into this program, and she's here to find out more about the intuition process. She's very inquisitive in her nature. So what better than having her interview her teacher and see what comes out of it. So having said that, Sanaya, over to you to lead us through our questions.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank both of you for being here. I'm really excited to do this. This sounds like such a great opportunity. Being in the intuition course was like one of my bucket list items, and I'm super happy to achieve that now. So to start off, I did have a couple of questions about intuition. Like for Miss Bhavani, it's like, what is intuition? And how do you recognize that intuitive thought? And is it sometimes, people always talk gut feeling and all those sort of things. Is it the same thing as that?
First of all, Sanaya, I'm so proud to be here. You interviewing me, because you've done several courses with me. So I am super proud. More than your parents, I think I will be very proud today to be sitting in this thing as a panelist with you. Yeah? Okay, that said, let's come to intuition. What is intuition? You see, there are so many ways of learning here in this world, isn't it? The first way of learning that we see through our eyes, we hear through our ears, we smell, we taste, we touch. So all the 5 senses we learn through that, first thing. Now the second thing is, but sometimes you see that the eyes are not telling us exactly what is happening. For example, you take a glass cup and fill it up with water and you put a stick in there. It shows the stick to be bent, right? It is as though the stick is broken. But is the stick really broken?
No.
No. So can you trust your eyes completely all the time? No, you cannot. We see the sun is rising in the east and setting in the west. Is the sun really rising and setting?
No.
So that is the second level of learning through our intelligence, through our intellect, we learn. So sometimes what we see and what we hear is need not be true. There is something else behind it. Okay. Now the third level of learning is beyond all of those things. For example, you may know, like, let's say that let's say you're going to school every day. Okay. And maybe it's a straight line. You just walk straight on the road and you go to your school. And suddenly one day something happens and it tells you, you know what, take a right here and go around that road. Another road, take that road to go to school. And then once you go to school, you find out in the corner of that road and another, the old one that you would normally take, maybe there was an accident or something that had happened. And then you were like, oh, I escaped it. I came through the other road. Right? So there's something inside us. That's why it's called intuition. Intuition means to learn. In means inside. So learning from within is called intuition.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. So now it is the gut feeling. It is yes, it is the gut feeling, but there's a little tricky in there. Okay. Sometimes we have lots of fears, we have judgments. So we can't trust our gut feeling all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it is a little bit more than that. Yes, it is the gut feeling, but I'm going to tell you it a little bit later how to really access it. How do you know that this is my gut feeling? This is my intuition. How do I know that? Correct? So we talk about it a little bit, but for now, yeah, this is what intuition means.
That was an amazing answer. So you were like saying that intuition is basically a voice inside your head that's telling you what to do, right? And sometimes the gut feeling can be impacted by logical fears, but sometimes it's actually our intuitive thought.
Fantastic. You really rephrased everything so beautifully. Good.
Thank you. All right, over to you, Mike 3. So you're a busy high schooler in 10th grade. And
Yeah.
I want to ask you, so I'm taking the intuition course and I'm kind of a little bit doubtful. What kind of benefits will it have? So what benefits do you see in your daily life because of intuition?
Oh, that's a really good question. I remember asking myself the same thing when I took the course in September. What are the benefits? Like, what are the effects of doing this intuition course? And so I think the one thing we all can relate to here is school. We have lots of tests, quizzes, projects, homework, and decisions we have to make for so many things, especially in high school. Around this time, you're making so many decisions about like what course you're going to take next year and about this AP exam that's coming up next week for some people. And I think through all of that, intuition really helps you keep calm through comprehending your situation and it helps me understand the intricacies of what I'm doing. And I think most of all, it just keeps me in a very like calm, comfortable like state of mind. So when I make these decisions, I'm not like super stressed. I'm not all over the place. I feel like my brain is like directed. It's like there are these like walls and I'm just looking straight forward and straight down, and there's not like a whole circus going on behind me. And another benefit I see a lot, and this may be relatable for some people, is orchestra. I'm in a youth orchestra, but I play the viola. So I remember I took the course in September, and it was like the beginning of September, and by mid-September, I had my first rehearsal for our new season. And one thing I noticed straight off the bat was I was confident on that first rehearsal, because usually I would never be confident. I would always be so scared about keeping in time, keep being in tune, and being able to communicate with other musicians. But I think doing the intuition really helps me, just like not overthink that, and it just happened, it just like weaved its way together because I trusted myself more, and that intuition just helped me do things off of that, rather than just like this fear and this logical brain just trying to convince me something that is maybe necessarily not true.
Wow, that's amazing. Now I really, really want to do it. So now you get like, so you're saying you get a calm state of mind, you get more confidence. Gosh,
Yeah.
this intuition course is great.
Yeah, no, it just helps you like decrease that anxiety, especially with music. You've got auditions, right? And the one thing every musician fears is stage fright. It's like it's a
Yeah.
common thing, and intuition really just like puts that at bay and just helps you enjoy the music in the present moment, enjoy what you're doing right then and there, rather than like what other people are going to think of you, what other people are going to think of what you're doing, and what happened in the past. Just helps you be in the present.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's really amazing. And you get to experience that in like just a couple more days.
So, Miss Bhavani Auntie, I wanted to ask you this. So I've been having this question a lot, but when I was researching, I couldn't find much on it. Where it's like, do kids have a better intuitive ability than adults? And if so, then why do they lose the connection when they move forward in life?
Wow, what a beautiful question. Yeah. First of all, everybody has got intuitive capacity. Okay. It's the inner light within, it's the inner guide. Of course, the inner guide gets lost with a lot of noise, that what Maitreyi was telling, the circus that goes on around us, it covers that inner guidance that we have. Now, kids don't have as much of drama in their life as adults do. Adults have gone through so many experiences in life which have covered that, and we become a lot more logical. We've been trained to think logically, whereas kids are not there yet. So it is much easier for us to move that veil that is covering them, remove the stresses that they are going through, and it's much easier for them to access the intuition. Now, how do they lose it? Because of life's experiences. But once you learn it and you keep up with it on a regular basis, you will not lose it. Even if you will get it back. Okay. The thing that doesn't make us realize our own abilities is the training. So when you go to school, you are expected to think a certain way. Logically, does this make sense? Excuse me. For example, I'll tell you, we have no idea. If you are in a group with 10 people in the room, you have no idea whose thoughts you catch. It's almost like fine-tuning a radio station. I don't know if you kids have listened to radio, but when we were small, we had to listen to radio. And then one channel, it kind of goes. So in one channel, we'll be listening to somebody doing some tailoring, and another channel will be listening to news. Going parallelly. So when we fine tune it, then we can hear one channel properly. And intuition process is that of training you to fine tune it. Okay, so that there's no disturbance.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what we do here.
That really is amazing. So if I'm not wrong, so basically, because adults have had a lot more life experiences and a lot going on in their lives, they sometimes don't have the same intuitive ability as kids. But everyone still has an intuitive ability, and you can get that by going to the intuition course.
Plus, only when you need to learn one more thing is that to trust yourself. Even though we have intuition, adults don't trust themselves.
Oh.
Okay. So they don't, even though even if somebody told you that tomorrow onwards your intuition will be working, people will not trust themselves. Whereas kids don't question, they will trust themselves and do it. So that is very important. Learning to trust oneself is very important for intuition to work.
Yeah, I never realized it. Like the brain is so complex. Like it's the logical brain and the intuitive brain. Like, Maitri, have you ever had your logical brain or your intuitive brain like conflict?
That's a good question, and the answer is yes. I've had that happen to me before, and it was a business quiz. It was, and the assignment, the homework was to read a chapter of the textbook. And normally what I end up doing is I just read the headings or just skim through it. I never do like a full on like detailed in-depth reading, because why would I ever choose to read the lecture beforehand, right? Like like the whole point of a lecture is to get introduced to new topics, not to just sit there and listen to a teacher just reciting the same terms you looked in you just studied in your textbook, right? So that was my usual play, but for some reason a couple months ago, when we got the same assignment to read a chapter in the textbook, I didn't really do it for homework, but then the morning of class, I was sitting and reading the textbook, which I was like, wait a second, why are you doing it? Reading it doesn't, I was like, my logical brain was telling me reading it doesn't matter because the teacher is just going to recite the same things, she's going to talk about like sales forecasting, budget, and like marketing. She's going to do all of that, and why am I studying it now? But then my intuitive brain was telling me something a little deeper than that, which is what I found out when I walked into business class and found out there was a pop quiz on that on that entire reading. I was terrified.
Wow.
I was terrified. I was like, oh dear. But
Okay, now I definitely have to do the intuition program. I'm
yeah.
gonna ace every pop quiz.
Yes, save yourself from those pop quizzes. Save yourself from them. So obviously why I didn't do too well on that quiz, because my logical brain told me that you didn't, like, why are you studying when you really don't read the textbook? And then my intuitive brain was like, hello, there you might want to study this part a bit, because the page I was like constantly staring at was like a big chunk of that. Was a big chunk of the pop quiz. So it does happen, and I think the important thing is to first of all accept that it does happen. It's not like you will, be able to predict every single pop quiz that happens in your entire life. And I think the other thing is to just take that, conflict between your logical and intuitive brain as an opportunity to know more about your intuition, because I think the intuition is a thing that we, for me at least, I know it's there, but then I'm not too acquainted with it. And these little bits of conflict help me just, understand it better, and just to, bond with my intuition.
Wow.
Yeah. That's pretty much, yeah. So it does happen, and just take it with grace and mercy for your own sake, because in high school you need all the mental health and all the mental wellness you can get. So, I think it's the same with and I think it's the same with any grade or any school, So yeah, that's pretty much what I have for that.
Wow, I'm so excited for my intuition course.
Yeah, you'll learn a lot about, like, just accepting yourself for who you are, and just, taking criticism and mistakes with grace and mercy, and yeah, you'll have a lot of fun.
And that's what Art of Living's all about.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
All right. I don't think I had any other questions for you.
I do have a question, though. So, Bhavani, you had initially talked about, some of the tools and things like that you were talking about. And as a parent, that's always a struggle, right? Because that intuitive ability can really help them be that guiding force when you are not there to help them. So what, as a parent, the program is, but is there something else that we can do to sharpen their intuitive ability in kids, or kind of help them recognize those inner voices, or help them guide them a little bit in that direction?
Sure. So for the kids who have done the intuition process, I always tell them to play games. So they're like intuitive games. Simple thing in my house, what we do is like, say a match is happening. It could be a football match, or it could be a basketball game, or it could be a tennis match. You come in and predict who's going to win. I've had tennis matches like the Wimbledon finals or US Open final. I would walk into the living room, and then I would be seeing that somebody is like one set down, and then or even at the beginning of the match, I have to predict who is going to win. And sometimes the one that I predicted would be like 2-0, they will be down. But they'll come back to win 3, after that. So they will win. These are all games that you can play. You are going in the car with the kids, light in the road. When is it going to turn green? So this is something that, or time. You can say, what time are we going to reach? Not look at the GPS and the ETA. Just say, what time we're going to go reach? Or dinner, just make a prediction what I'm going to make for dinner. So when we keep it light and playful, see, this is a long-term skill that they are learning. So it's not about forcing them every day, practice, so they'll get put off by it, but more of a gentle guidance. And see, hey, why don't you do your practice today? Let's see how it goes, your prediction goes. Skip the practice, let's see how the prediction goes. So then they are testing, they themselves are playing with it. Okay, and they will see, they will recognize, like Maitreyi did. She started doing her practice, she started recognizing, she started connecting the pieces, now she keeps up with it. So that is something that we can do. Second thing is that one of the thing is also, when both brains are in balance, both hemispheres of the brain are in balance, then there's more intuitive thought that happens. So what we have, we all have a dominant side, right? So some people are right-handed people, some people are left-handed people. So we have our dominant side. Develop the non-dominant side. So this is something I like to do for fun. I'm a right-handed person. So I would pick up, when I'm watching TV, I would pick up a paper and I would start drawing circle with my left hand. I want to get a perfect circle with my left hand. And then whatever I draw with my right hand, I want to replicate it exactly with my left hand. It's fun. There's nothing to do. It's easy. You will start seeing that things will start happening. And another, you want to do a cute exercise, Sanaya?
Yeah, sure.
My hand is here, is like, it's a broken finger, so it's in the bandage. So forgive me for that. Okay, so let's make a little fist, both hands. Okay, let's do it together. So put your left thumb out, and the right pinky out. Okay. Okay, close it back. Now the right thumb out and the left pinky out. You see, both fingers are pointing the same direction. Do you see that? So
Yeah.
now do it fast.
Oh, I see.
Okay. You see that?
Yeah. Oh.
How now you're using both hemispheres of the brain at the same time. Okay. This is a real
we got something to do in
When you're bored in class, people.
while waiting
When you're bored
at
in
the
class and you don't
DMV.
like your teacher. Yeah.
Another one you can do is this. So with your left hand, let's say, draw a circle in the air.
Oh, I loved him.
Keep on drawing the circle with your left hand. And with your right hand, simultaneously, you have to draw a square.
Oh, no.
Okay. Simultaneously.
Kind of reminds me of like polyrhythm.
That's like rubbing your stomach and tapping your head at the same time.
Or in the
I can't
music,
do it.
or in the music world, patting your hand, like doing triplets and then just doing like eighth notes at the same time.
Exactly. So these are all some fun exercises that will balance the brain. And it's fun to do it. But then what we teach in the course are very specific techniques. They're not generic techniques, but they are extremely, extremely specific techniques. There are breathing practice, there's an incredible meditation, and there are some physical exercises that they do, which kind of opens up the intuitive abilities in them. And one of the biggest factors that when you have your intuitive ability is one thing, is like what Maitreyi said, so many, you are able to predict, you are able to see what's going to come, you're able to make better judgments. All of that is also there. But one more cute thing that happens is that you may have seen some videos where kids are wearing blindfolds and reading. And they're able to do things. So it shows when your intuition is really, really sharp, even if one of the senses is covered, all the other senses compensate for it, and you're able to do that sense function.
Wow.
Okay? That is the beauty about it.
Yeah, you've heard that, right? You've heard that several times, that when the one sense is not working for people, then naturally their other senses get more active, and that kind of brings me to something that I really think we should talk a little bit about, is the sixth sense. And someone very, very special is coming very close in California. So Bhavani, if you want to talk a little bit, Sri is going to be here in the Bay Area next week and talking about the sixth sense or the intuition for adults. We've been talking about the kids, but I really think that we adults, as you said, we have that, we lose that as we grow, but we need to connect back to the source. So can you talk a little bit of what this event is about, and and then what people can expect?
So Sanaya asked me the question earlier that how do we lose that intuitive capacity, correct? So our mind is filled with thoughts. Did you know that, fun fact, how many thoughts we get in a day?
No? How many?
A billion.
About 60 to 65,000 thoughts in a day.
Oof.
Yeah.
No, that seems kind of accurate.
Here is that all of us are women here, girls and women here. So women are very special. We get 80 to 85,000 thoughts.
Oh, wow.
Bro, that kind of actually, that seems very accurate.
So we need to reduce the noise outside for us to be able to listen to the intuition that is happening. So one of the most important elements for that is the stepping stone is meditation. A regular meditative practice is what is extremely essential for intuition to develop. Okay? And also presence of spiritual masters. So our Art of Living founder, Sri Ravi Shankar, he is coming next week on May 7th, and he is doing this session called Awaken the Sixth Sense. And he'll be doing lots of different techniques and meditations also. And it's a great opportunity for people to experience even that momentary silence in the mind. And who knows what other magic will happen there? I don't know. Every time, I had one incident I wanted to share. Excuse me, my throat is really annoying. One second. So I had a very, very interesting experience one time. I was in a session with him, and then people were asking questions, and he said that I'm not going to answer any of the questions. I'm going to do it in silence. Okay. So you ask me a question, you will get an answer one-on-one to you. Okay? And it was so interesting. So I put this question out there, and it was so vivid. It's almost like I was hearing it in my ear, the answer came.
Oh, wow.
There's nothing, you cannot miss it. You cannot miss that answer.
So yeah, it's like amazing to see like what like amazing things happen in silence, you know, because like because like I remember when I do intuition or just do any kind of or intuition or any meditation that just silences my mind, gets so many great ideas for stories and like poetry. Yeah.
Totally, you got it. So that is where it happens. So it's such a great opportunity. It's not being taught by any teacher, but he himself is going to be doing all the meditations. He himself will be teaching all the techniques. And it's such a great opportunity to come experience that silence, deep silence within, and then also see what happens to our sixth sense. How do we become sharpened? Many people have shared that after they've done all of these, the breathing practices and meditations, their intuition has sharpened. There's
That kind of leads to our another question that Bhavani is coming in is, why is it important for the kids to do the intuition process, especially when they have been practicing the Sky Kids and the Sky Teen course? Like, that also has the element of yoga and breathwork. And this is as an instructor, this is a question that I often get. So, if you can share a little bit on that.
So there are different things that you can do with different types of practices. Okay, certain practices address the emotional needs, certain practices address the mind, and certain other practices address the balancing of the brain in both hemispheres. So there are different aspects of the brain that we are touching upon. Okay, there is the frontal lobe you have, there's this limbic brain that you have, and there's the cognitive brain you have, like amygdala. So many different parts of the brain are responsible for different things that we do, right? For rational thinking is the prefrontal cortex. So when we do, so those things that when you do certain types of meditations, that impact the prefrontal cortex. There's some other types of meditations that go to the amygdala, which is the limbic brain, which wakes up all the other ideas. And then I think the one that wakes up the intuition in us is hippocampus. I'm sorry, I'm not a medical professional, but I think there's one of the two. Amygdala, I've heard that it is more the limbic brain, which clears out all the impressions and everything. And so there's a little bit more in there. So, and then you have these different glands in there, the thyroid gland, parathyroid, or the, oh, geez, what is that other one here? I'm forgetting that. So these are all different, pineal gland, that is. So all of these different glands have the ability to do something else in us. Okay, so the techniques also touch different parts of the brain. It's not the same thing as like, oh, Sky does that. No, otherwise we don't need it, right? If one technique can do everything, then we don't need another technique. Gurudev would not have given that. So it touches different parts of the brain and wakes up.
Yeah, I think, I can see, I feel like, I can think of like one instance where that happens, or I can like really see that happening, because with my audition like 2 years ago, I hadn't done the intuition process yet. I remember that audition, goodness, it was like the first audition back in person. It was my annual audition, so first one back in person after like a couple of years. So I had my regular breathing techniques back then, but I was still so nervous and I could not connect with my music. I could not like connect with like my who I was as a musician. And safe to say that audition was a big struggle. It was like a big struggle. I don't think I would want to go back in time and relive that again. But this year, when I did the intuition, after doing the whole intuition process and practicing it for like a good 6-7 months, when I walked into the audition room, I was surprised that my anxiety and like that, the audition butterflies, I didn't have any of those. It was like for once I felt like, oh yeah, I know this piece. I'm connected with my music. I'm connected with myself. Like it's like I can do this, and safe to say this audition went significantly better than the last one. And yeah, I think it's what you told like Ms. Bhavani about like, how the intuition just works in like a different in a different part of your brain that is also quite crucial to our daily life.
Yeah, totally. Yes, different parts of the brain need to be touched.
Great. It doesn't look like we have any more questions from the audience. So this was great. I think as a parent, as a youth instructor, I think there's a lot of takeaways for me personally, and I'm excited that Sanaya is excited, because when I asked her the first time to take the program, she's like, why? I'm already doing my sky breathing. What is this going to be different? So I'm glad we had these discussions. And I think it's very important for you to understand the science. They need to understand the reasoning. And they want to hear from people like you, Maitri, who are their peers, who've taken the program. So I really appreciate you coming and talking about it. And Bhavani ji, as usual, thank you so much for all the insight that you bring in, and you bring in wisdom from so many different points. So, and thank you everyone who've been watching here. And I know that there are lots of people who are going to watch it at a later time. So definitely, we are always looking for content. So if there are any ideas, any suggestions that you have for our next topic, do let us know. And we are happy to bring in experts together, talk about some topics related to health, wellness, and stuff. Coming up next month is Mental Health Month in the month of May. So look out for some more content from the youth program area. And thank you everyone for joining, and thank you for our panelists.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, great.